Hello, it's the audio clone of Mr. Von Neumann. This tutorial is on Google Sheet Programming Basics. Here is the syntax that you are going to need to do some basic operations in Google Sheet, to add, to sum up, to subtract. And summing up is just basically adding a bunch of numbers together that are in a series. So if you had like 10, 20, 35, 40, 50, 60 and you wanted to add them all together, you could just go from the first number, semicolon, to the last number. It'll add up a long list. It's the same as adding, but just in series, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, square rooting, and exponent. Pause this in the tutorial and use this to help you program it, or click on my link that you'll find in my assignments. So let's go ahead and do a practice sheet here. And first off, I'm going to show you how to continue a sequence of numbers. So let's say we're looking at some houses here and you're making a real estate sheet, and you've got house 1, house 2, and you don't feel like having to continue writing that down. You can highlight both of them, hold shift, and highlight both. Then get this little blue square in the corner and drag it down, and you could go to hundreds or thousands and it'll continue your number sequence. Now if you only click on one square and you try to drag it down, it'll just keep dragging only that number. So you got to make sure you highlight at least 2 squares and it will continue with that sequence. And let's say we're trying to figure out the cost of a bunch of houses per square foot. So we've got the price of the houses and then the square feet that are in them. And you can actually put any pattern here. So say you've got one house that cost $100,000 and the next house cost $110,000. Just like we did with the numbers over here, if you highlight 2 of them and if you highlight 2, get the little square in the corner and drag it down, it will actually continue the sequence. Although I just did 11,000 there, so that's not gonna, that'll confuse it. So if you drag this down, it should keep going 120, 130, 140. See? And this is incredibly useful if you ever have to do anything down for hundreds or thousands of rows down. This is very, very useful. And let's say this house is 800 square feet, and let's just say they're all 800 square feet. So to do that, again, I drag it, just click that one square and click it or drag it and you get all 800s. Now let's go ahead and actually try to use some of the syntax here. So to figure out in this problem how many square feet you have for the price per square foot, we'd want to divide the price by square feet. So the syntax for that is divide, parentheses, dividend, which is the number to be divided, comma, by the number you're dividing with. So we will go equals. You always have to press equal. If you don't, it will not work. It's not case sensitive. So divide, have to do the parentheses. Now, the magic of programming in Google Sheet is how it automates things as you drag down. So if I only type in numbers, it's not going to be able to customize this equation that you're typing in here. So watch. If I use the cells instead, it'll be able to do it. So this cell is B2. And then the comma. And instead of typing B2, since I want to divide 100,000 by 800, I can just simply click on this cell here. That's C2. And now it is programmed to divide B2 by C2. Now watch, this is where it really gets efficient. You can click that corner and you drag this down, and you don't have to keep reprogramming every single cell. it will populate them out for you. So each one of these, if you click on it, now it's saying divide B3 by C3. It moved down a row, and it did that all the way down. See? This is the beauty of using Excel or Google Sheets to do your calculations for a lab, for a real estate spreadsheet, for construction, for anything. It makes life very simple, especially when you start heading down to hundreds or thousands of rows. And that's the end of our first tutorial on basic programming in Google Sheet. I hope that was helpful.